New findings showing a strong percentage of Kansans support the legalization of medical marijuana. The study's findings come just ahead of next year's legislative session in January. Soners reporter Brock Wilson is in studio with the appetite for the drug's legalization and where the issue stands with lawmakers. Brock?
Dylan, the new Kansas Speak survey shows 73% of Kansans either support or somewhat support medical marijuana, while about 61% support recreational marijuana, but it could still be a struggle to have a serious conversation about the issue in the state legislature in 2025.
I think that we're landlocked by everywhere that has already made that step.
Benjamin Brizendine opened the Bloom Room dispensary on East Central about 2 years ago.
I have people that come in from all over the nation.
Benjamin can sell cannabidiol products as long as they don't contain THC, the psychoactive compound found in marijuana, but has seen firsthand the demand for its legalization.
They have what they need, most of them for sleep, most of them for anxiety or depression.
But just because there appears to be support from the public doesn't mean state lawmakers will be having a discussion about marijuana next year.
All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that motion goes down.
In a meeting this week, the Special Committee on Medical Marijuana voted not to recommend legalization to the state legislature in 2025. Republican Senator Mike Thompson had this to say.
I'd be very uncomfortable coming back with January with the intent that we're doing anything more than reviewing the data that we compiled.
This all after hearing testimony earlier this month from local law enforcement like Sedgwick County Sheriff Jeff Easter, among other detractors, with concerns about marijuana.
How much is too high? We know what the rate is for DUI. It's over 0.08. We don't know what that is for marijuana.
But Kansas dispensary owners like Benjamin are still holding out hope that the state legislature will take up legalizing marijuana soon.
Someone needs to go up there and into the legislative in Topeka and speak the word for the people. Maybe it's time.
Now, also interesting to note, in this year's Kansas Speak survey, just 29% of respondents reported being satisfied with the state legislature. Now, if you'd like to read the full survey, it's available on our website, kwch.com, and the KWCH app.